Hey guys, thanks for joining me again for another episode of my YouTube channel, Long Live the Brains. Today I'm going to talk to you about advocacy. So the initial motivation for this YouTube series was to be a resource about neurodegenerative diseases to patients, their family members, loved ones, really everybody. And that's because there's a general lack of education about these diseases. Now, that's partly due to the fact that the medical community has had an incomplete understanding of these diseases. And fortunately, in the past few years, our understanding has increased exponentially. But the fact remains that we still have inadequate treatments and essentially no cures for many of these diseases, such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, dementia with Lewy bodies, and many, many others. So, in video 33, I talked about how you can join the fight, and that was in the context of Alzheimer's disease because I was raising money for an upcoming walk to end Alzheimer's disease. So that's two examples of how you can get involved. You can actually, you can walk, run. These things are happening all over the country all the time. Just pick your disease of interest and find the organization that is supporting the cause that you want. You can donate money, as many of you did, to my fund for the Walk to End Alzheimer's, and I'm greatly appreciative for that. But I also mentioned that you can talk to your local congressman about these issues. You know, the research that is needed to increase our understanding of these diseases is not cheap. And as we understand them better, then we have to develop drugs, and drug development is not cheap. So there's no part of this process that's cheap. And so we have to find ways to fund these endeavors. Many of the organizations, such as Walk to End Alzheimer's Disease or the Fox Foundation, disease-specific organizations, do provide research grants for these researchers, but a lot of the funding also comes through in the form of federal grants. And so that underscores the importance of getting the attention of our lawmakers and making sure that they appropriate the appropriate amount of money to neuroscience research. So actually next week I have the privilege of doing something that now will be for the third time in a row, and that's joining my colleagues in the American Academy of Neurology at an event called Neurology on the Hill. And that's where delegates such as myself from all over the country come to Washington, D.C. and present issues that have been deemed important by neurologists all across the country to our congressmen. And you know, things that we've talked about in the past have been increasing funding for neuroscience research because we know that there are a lot of issues that are present right now with the stress of these diseases, not only on the individuals but on society as a whole, and the problem is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you know, talking about ways to prevent disease is huge, and I would argue is probably the most important thing if we could just prevent these diseases altogether. But once the diseases are present, we need to have effective treatments and cures, and it's only through research that we're able to come up with these answers. So I would encourage you to get involved, write a letter, go see your local congressman, send a phone call, search online for the disease that you're passionate about. Is it Parkinson's disease or progressive supranuclear palsy or multiple system atrophy or dementia with Lewy bodies or Alzheimer's disease? Search for some of those organizations and you'll be able to find out, is there a walk or a run or some kind of event near me where they're raising money? You can get involved in the event or donate money directly. There are many, many ways that you can get involved, but I don't want this video to end without you knowing the number one thing to do is to tell somebody else. Unfortunately, many people are developing these diseases and they're not talking about them. There may be a stigma behind cognitive dysfunction, or if someone's developing Parkinson's disease, they're noticing that things aren't as fast as they used to be, and they don't want to talk about it. So talk about these issues. There's nothing wrong with them. These are diseases that need to be identified, addressed, and beat back. And that's what we're all aiming to do. So join the fight.